How's it going, YouTube and all the ISL fans out there? This is Tyfighter23, and I'm here with my co-host,
Sup, I'm Berk, coach of the New England Patriots.
and we are here to discuss Week 3, well, the recap for Week 3, pretty much. So this week was
hmm
definitely an interesting week. A lot of teams are still undefeated, and a lot of teams are no longer having 0 wins, so a lot of things changed after Week 3, so let's go ahead and go into the first matchup of the week.
Yeah, so the first match was the Atlanta Shocks, coached by Bob, versus the Calgary Flamethrowers, coached by Hayden. The Atlanta Shocks brought Sandslash, Gudra, Azumarill, Megalopunny, Arcanine, and Thunderous T, and the Calgary Flamethrowers brought Mega Charizard Y, Zygarde, Chansey, Venusaur, Latias, and Crawdon. This was a sweep right from the beginning. That Zygarde set up one Dragon Dance and then took out four Mons right away. Uh, the Atlanta Shocks didn't have anything to stop the sweep, except apparently a Sand Slash, which, if he had sent that in earlier, would have stopped the Zygarde sweep maybe a Mon or two earlier. But it was just total domination by Hayden this week. Zygarde picking up 4 kills and then Charizard just cleaning up the rest with the other two. Those are the only two mons on his side that even saw the field. So that was just, yeah,
Yeah,
two on six.
it was definitely a good sweep by Hayden. Like one of the things that Bob started to do was he started to use like fake, like bring a Mega Lopunny fake out and then switch out, sack something off and bring Mega Lopunny in back in to fake out
Mm-hmm.
again, just trying to get more damage off on it. And that's pretty much what gave Sandslash a chance to live a hit from Zygarde, uh, and then go for a knockoff, I believe, that took it out. So
Yeah, but he also sacked off the Mega Lopunny. So
yeah, if he continued to like switch in, switch out, he might have had a little bit of a chance, and then but hindsight's 2020.
hmm
There wasn't really. I think Bob sort of just lost focus a little bit and started to freak out a little bit since his moms were dying left and right. Um,
yeah, it's really hard to stop a sweep once your three mons dead and he still got all six. So
mhm. So
yeah, it happens. Sometimes you don't. It seemed like he kind of didn't prepare as well this week as previous weeks. So
I just don't think
he
he was
didn't
expecting
really
a
have.
Zygarde sweep. I don't.
Yeah, but you gotta pretty much expect anything. And
Mm,
he did have stuff to stop it, a lot of priority on his team, but he didn't have anything to wall it after that +1. So
Sandslash, but it only took
it
two hits. So
yeah, and that's not really walling something if it's easily two code.
yeah, it's not really walling anything at all. But
Mm-mm.
I'm sure Bob will do fine next week. So he'll definitely come back and
Mhm.
I think he'll realize, okay, get around the sweep. Let's do something. Let's actually prepare better, and he'll probably do a better job next week. So,
Yep.
but talking about the next matchup, we had the Cincinnati Rajagigas, Damon, going against Boo and the San Francisco 49 Tails. Damon brought Rotom Wash, Porygon Z, Gardevoir, Mega Scizor, Hawlucha, and Garchomp to go against Boo's team of Emboar, Weavile, Klefki, Dragonite, Zapdos, and Primeape. This was a 2-0 victory for Damon. A really good battle back and forth between the two of them. I think they both had a lot of checks to each other's mons. Megazords are picking up 2 kills before going down. Uh, Rotom Wash never. I don't know if it ever hit the field or not. I don't remember. Um,
Yeah, it did.
it did.
It didn't get any kills or deaths, but it did hit the field.
I know Hulucha came in at the end, and Power Herb Sky Attack took out the last Mon and win the battle for him, which was definitely was I was not expecting. I was like, okay. Um, I believe the Primeape
Yeah.
was Choice Banded or Choice Scarf. If it was Choice Scarf, it might have outsped the Hulucha, but I know he was Choice in some way. But yeah, the Sky Attack Power Herb, I was like, you do you.
Yeah. Well, Sky Attack Power Up, I think, is a pretty good moves. Set because you eat up the Power Herb and then it activates your Unburden boost next turn. So, most people run the sub Citrus Berry, but I have seen power up sky attack, just because it end goal it does almost the same thing.
I mean, it was
But
definitely definitely smart on his part to bring in this week. Just brought something different. It was
mhm,
definitely something like I said, something I wouldn't have expected. Just because I didn't really know that was a thing. But I mean, both teams did really well. Boo tried to come back at the end there and try to take out some of his
mhm.
mons, but there wasn't really
Yeah,
a whole lot he could really do.
yeah, I definitely have a newfound respect for Embor, seeing how much damage that thing was doing. Yeah,
the
Embor is just such an underrated threat because it's kind of slow, but it does so much damage when it's in there. So
the
I
reckless
definitely
ability
like,
really helps.
yeah. And one thing I noticed right in the beginning was the Clef key didn't actually have Prankster.
It
Didn't have
didn't.
Prankster. No, it didn't. That Gardevoir was able to taunt it right away, and the Clef key couldn't do anything.
The reason why I was able to do that because
So,
God of War had Trace. It traced the prankster.
oh, it did trace the Prank.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right, Gardevoir. Never mind. You know what? Never mind then. Oops. I completely
I,
forgot about Trace.
no, I had this exact same problem. Like when I first watched battle, I was like, wait a second, why did God of War go
Yeah,
first?
I
And then
thought.
I went back and watched the
Yeah, I
battle, and I
was
was
like,
like,
wait, did he
oh,
bring? I was like, did he bring Magician? That's
well,
so odd. But
it
I guess
just
you could like foul play and take items.
yeah, no,
But
that would have
now
been
that you say that, yeah, that may.
so yeah. He was able to do
Yeah,
that, and that
I
sort of
for,
stopped the Klefki from doing anything.
which was actually now that I, now that I know that that's a really good move on Damon's part to shut down the Klefki.
Mm-hmm. Just I guess that's why he brought the taunt on God of War was just so that he can bring it in on the Klefki and stop him setting up
Yeah,
hazards and screens stuff like that. Because that's all really Klefki is really used for ever is setting up stuff to help make his team survive longer and do damage to the other opponents. So he doesn't really do a
yeah.
lot of attacking. So that was definitely smart on Damon's part on that one. Definitely good planning.
Mhm.
So let's go ahead and talk. I mean, do you have anything else to say about this match?
No, I think it was a pretty good showing for both teams. I think Damon had planned a little bit better. Now I know that like that Gardevoir had Trace and Taunt. That was just that's pretty good. That shows like planning for even specific scenarios. So definitely liked it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was a really good match to watch.
It really was.
So the next match was uh, Ty and the Miami Heatran versus Oz and the Carolina Pansiers, and you brought the Mega Charizard X, Rhyperior, Raikou, Honchkrow, Suicune, and Terrakion. And he brought the Galvantula, Mega Aerodactyl, Vileplume, Mew, Rotom H, and Toxicroak. This was a pretty good battle. Very back and forth. One thing died, then another thing died. And it just went on like that until only 3 months were left on each side. And uh, I there were some hacks. You missed two Zen headbutts, but at the end he missed the overheat, and that uh, might have cost him the match. I haven't done the calcs, but overheat from Rotom H against the Terrakion, I don't know, might have killed. But he did bring some interesting sets. Outrage Mew, can't really see that coming because well, it's Mew, so you can't really tell what it does. But it didn't actually get a kill, so. But uh, as far as your sets, it seemed you were playing well. Um, again, the unfortunate Zen headbutt misses probably would have brought up the differential a bit. But overall, good playing from both teams. I think Oz is uh, improving, and yeah, that's all. That's all I really got. You have anything to say about your own match?
Yeah, I mean, I brought pretty much the standard stuff. I didn't really go too crazy with all the planning and all that. I did bring a Toy Scarf Honchkrow just so I can try to outspeed things with default so I can get rid of hazards if I need to.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I didn't realize that the Rotom Heat was Toy Scarfed, so that sort of counteracted the Honchkrow Toy Scarf.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't able to get rid of the hazard, so that made tracking a little bit slower. And I ran the calc for the overheat on the Terrakion. The max it would do was 40%. The lowest it would do, I think, was like 31 or 34%. And Terrakion was at 37. So it had a chance to OHKO. But it was pretty much just a roll at that point. So it was pretty much a 50-50 shot if it hit, and then it was 50-50 shot after that, pretty much, if it was going to kill or not. So, did the miss matter? Who really knows? It like I said, it came down to a roll. The Zen headbutts definitely mattered. One Zen headbutt onto the Toxic Crow from a choice scarf tracking. I don't know if it was choice scarf or choice banded. Would take out the Toxic Crow in one hit. So that's sort of how. Well, it sort of sucked that I wasn't able to get the Zen headbutt off him that first time, but I mean, I was able to take him out later with Zen headbutt, and then take out the Ronin Pete with Zen headbutt after that. So, so it was a good match between the two of us. We both played really well, like you said, just back and forth, taking one mon out of another. I think probably my best play was when I saw Outrage on the Mew. I had Charizard X out, set up one Dragon Dance. He went for an Outrage. I was like, no, not staying in on that. And so I switched out, and he went into. I went to Rhyperior, who had Rocky Helmet, so it just. Yep. The Rocky Helmet took out the Mew after just kind of outraging on that and taking damage from that, so.
Yeah, it killed itself.
Yeah, so it was definitely a good match between the two of us. Well, let's see how the next weeks go. Hopefully, like you said before, Oz is definitely improving. I can definitely see him possibly picking up a win next week. He's doing really well. Definitely improving for the sets and planning better. I think he just has to get used to this type of format, and he's getting there. He's getting there.
Yep.
Alright, so the next matchup is New England Patriots, Berk, versus the Dallas Victory Stars and Xavier. Berk here brought Excadrill, Azelf, Cofagrigus, Vaporeon, Thunderous Eye, and Kecleon, while Xavier brought Victini, Mega Manectric, Staraptor, Tyranitar, Chestnut, and Kyurem. This was a 1-0 victory for the Dallas Victory Stars. This was pretty much to see who was going to be undefeated still and who would have their first loss. I think both of you played really well. You both, it went down to the wire. You all were taking out each other's mons pretty well. Excadrill picking up 2 kills, Cofagrigus picking up 1. I think the rest of his mons, I think one died to Life Orb, and one of them died to Hazards, I think, didn't it?
Sand.
I
think. Something like that.
Kecleon being a specially defensive wall was definitely to wall that Mega Manectric really was nice. It just sucks that getting burned sort of. Okay, you brought the only attacking moves were physical attacking priority moves, and that would have really helped against the Mega Manectric. But you got burned, so it pretty much cut your attack in half and didn't able to do much to it. So Kecleon didn't 100% work the way you wanted it, I don't think. It walled the Manectric pretty well. It's just you weren't able to do much back with it.
The burn kind of sucked because it wasn't that I wasn't doing much damage. It was that when I calced it, an overheat from a Mega Manectric, if he was carrying overheat, did like 40% maximum. So what it turned into was, and I think Thunderbolt did like 37% maximum. What it turned into is instead of 3-hit KOs, it turned them into possible 2 KOs. So I had to keep recovering, and I couldn't do damage at that point. So that's why, for me, it kind of sucked. It changed like my game plan, how I'm going to take down the Mega Manectric. But I don't think in the end it really mattered too much.
I know you brought Sand this week.
Yeah.
You brought Sandstorm on the Azelf, I believe.
Yeah.
And you tried to hopefully sweep with Excadrill.
Yeah, it didn't work out as planned.
It happens. He brought a really good team to counteract you. I liked how he brought Tyranitar, knowing you have Excadrill. It's like,
yeah, I was not expecting that. He told me that he was expecting Entei, and that Tyranitar was the Entei check. And I was really surprised he brought Tyranitar because I'm like, I have Excadrill, I have Sandrush, so I wasn't really expecting that. And the Tyranitar kind of caught me off guard. There's a special Tyranitar too, and
yeah, I noticed that. I was like, this is
and
weird.
But in my commentary, I was guessing it was a special Tyranitar the way he brought it in the Cofagrigus. I'm like, this has to be a special Tyranitar because I burned it, and he just doesn't care. He's going to stay in. And yeah, it went for Dark Pulse. Yeah. Hindsight, I should have switched out the Cofagrigus at that point, saved it, but it happens.
It happens. Like I said, you both played really well. I don't think this loss is really going to affect you that much. I think you're still going to be fine.
So.
It's not like you got like destroyed by someone. It was just a 1-0 loss.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
I wasn't. I'm not worried about it. Although interesting fact, now that I've lost 1-0 and Xavier has won 1-0 and Hayden won 5-0, we are all currently at the same differential,
you're all
and
at
Hayden
positive
and I
10,
are exactly tied.
which you
So
guys are in different divisions, while Xavier's in your division and one game ahead of you, but the exact same differential. So,
yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. This is something
no, it's
I thought
definitely
was kind of
interesting.
funny.
Um, the three of the possibly three of the best players in this league right now are all tied with the best differential. So it's quite interesting. Quite interesting.
Well, I mean, there also is Damon at 3-0, Bob's 2-1, so and
I
Braden's
said
2.
three of the best, not the best. Three of the
Oh,
best.
I
So
didn't.
there are plenty of people who are equally as doing well as you all are. But it's only week 3. Uh,
Yep,
we'll see
anything
how.
can happen at this point.
Yeah, we'll see how the rest of the season goes. See who's really the best, especially between the three of you, since the three of you guys are becoming really good friends. Uh, See who's really gonna become the better of the three.
Yeah, it'll be
So,
interesting. I did play Hayden though. I did play Hayden. I did win 3-0. Just put that out there.
and that was an official match.
I know. I don't play him in the regular season, so
And so let's go ahead and talk about the next matchup.
so the next matchup is Florida for Alligators, coached by Jair, versus Manaphy City, coached by Cameron. And uh, Florida for Alligators brought Luxray, Infernape, Landorus I, Mega Altaria, Jirachi, and Tornadus T. And Manaphy City brought Tentacruel, Florges, Rotom C, Greninja, Talonflame, and Gliscor. Manaphy City picking up their first win, a really solid 4-0. I think in this match, Cameron just prepared better. When I looked at Jair's team, you look at Luxray, Infernape, and Jirachi, they're all weak to ground, and Landorus, Mega Altaria, and Tornadus, and they're all weak to ice. And Cameron brought like the just he didn't really have to plan too much with this Gliscor because he just slaps Earthquake and Ice Fang on it, and he hits everything on the opposing opposing team for super effective.
Nice
So
shot
I
there.
think, yeah, I can't speak right now, uh, but yeah, that Gliscor just did so much work against his team, picking up 3 kills. Greninja picking up 2 more kills. Uh, and he's just using his more offensive team. I think he's using it better, and it showed this week. And how you're bringing some kind of odd sets. At least I thought Luxray with Baby Doll Eyes, that was interesting. It didn't really do much, but he was kind of playing a little bit obvious. He switches Mega Altaria in on an Ice Fang twice, so uh, eventually, first time it missed, and the second time it went down to it actually connected and took down the Mega Altaria before it Mega Evolved.
Hmm.
And yeah, he just didn't really have much of an answer for this Gliscor. Nothing hit it for super effective unless something had HP Ice, which
Yeah.
I don't know if anything did.
I don't know his set, so I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, the Luxray was definitely interesting. I think it was more of like a defensive Luxray with
Yeah, it was
Intimidate
definitely
and
defense.
Baby Doll
Yeah,
Eyes. That's interesting. I mean, Baby Doll Eyes is pretty much just the priority growl,
I mean
so
that can be useful.
it can be useful in certain situations.
Yeah.
I think it was able to allow him to live maybe one hit from the Gliscor.
Mhm.
Uh, but other than that, like you said, there wasn't really a whole lot. I mean, the Infernape could have ran Ice Punch. I don't know if it did or not.
I don't think it did because it was going for fire punches against the Gliscor.
Yeah, so which was definitely interesting. Landers, I was able to do something against his team. Was able to take out the Tentacruel and Floor, just take out the walls of Cameron's team.
Hmm.
Since Gliscor was more of a physical attacker this week, not really a wall. So it was like after those two went down, I thought Hyair was able to be able to bring it back and possibly get the win, but Gliscor just stopped that in his tracks. Greninja stopped that in his tracks.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't. I know Rotom I don't think ever hit the field once. Um,
No,
because there was nothing really for it to come in on.
and neither did Talonflame.
So I mean, both those mons, but there wasn't. I mean, Talonflame could have Brave Bird in the Infernape, but other than that, there wasn't really a whole lot that Rotom and Talonflame really could do in this match. So if the Gliscor and Greninja both went down as well, I think Hyair probably would have had a better chance. But
Well, so think about it a little more. I see why he brought the Luxray set. It was a check to the Talonflame.
Oh, I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Because he
because
can,
with Intimidate and Baby Doll Eyes.
and being resistant to Brave Bird,
Yeah.
he would eat up the hits just fine. And that makes sense. But it was an interesting idea for how you brought the sets that he did. Some of the plays, like you said, were a little interesting, sending in the Mega Altaria against the Gliscor after already knowing it has Ice Fang. I guess the second time he was just trying to psych off the Mega Altaria so he can get a free switch in on the Gliscor. I don't know. But I just don't think how you're playing as well as Cameron did, like you said. And Cameron was able to finally get his first win, and it was a big win for 4-0.
Yep.
So our final match of the week for week 3 is Braden and the Seattle Superiors versus Tom and the Bay Leaf Munichs. Braden brought this was a 1-0 victory, while Braden brought Uxie, Escavalier, Jolteon, Kieran B, Nidoqueen, and Landers T, while Tom brought Milotic, Keldeo, Scizor, Mega Gardevoir, Hitmontop, and Dragalge. This was sort of a back and forth battle, just like we've had a lot with a lot of these matches. Both teams able to pick up a lot of good wins against each other. Pretty much it just came down to the Jolteon pretty much just coming in and sweeping at the very end there, getting the last 2 kills, outspeeding both those Mons. And I don't remember who the last 2 Mons were.
Keldy, I think it was Keldeo Melodic.
Which Jolteon covers both of those with super effective Thunderbolt. So I think at that point, Uxie, Escavalier, like some of the mons that both of them brought were like, okay, these are probably the best mons they probably could have brought against each other. I think they both planned really well. I think it just came down to certain plays that happened, and Braden knowing his win condition for this match and saving it for the very end, because Jolteon, depending on the movesets, can pretty much deal with almost everything on the team.
Yeah. I would say there were some unfortunate hacks on Tom's side. That Mega Gardevoir got paralyzed 4 times in a row, I think. Which meant that it couldn't kill the Uxie in one hit. It got enough leftovers recovery to bring it back to the point where it wouldn't die. That was unfortunate. And I don't know. He crit the Melodic with the Thunderbolt. Melodic was almost near full health. If that was especially defensive Melodic, I think that crit might have mattered, but I'm not entirely certain.
Yeah, I don't know the exact. I mean, even as because it wasn't the Melodic. I thought it was status in some way. Was it?
Yeah, it was. I think it was paralyzed.
So it
which
had.
Was a great play by Tom, bringing the Melodic in on the Thunder Wave from the Uxie. But Marvel's scale doesn't raise special defense, only just regular defense.
That's true.
So it was a good play, and if it was specially defensive, I don't know how much a Thunderbolt from a Jolteon will do. It's probably a modest Jolteon, because he was actually running a Quick Feet Flame Orb Jolteon, which is very interesting. You almost never see that. So interesting sets. It worked out for him in the end. So
Well, what I thought was funny was that the first time Jolteon was out, it got the Flame Orb off, and then I think Uxie had Heal Bell or something.
yeah.
It was able to get the burn off, and then Jolteon came back in on a Scald for the Melodic, and it got the first turn burn on it.
Yeah,
so it sort of just helped out the Jolteon even better, because well, I don't even have to wait a turn for it.
Yeah, but it would have outsped the Melodic anyway. So
yeah, but I'm just saying that I thought that was a little, that was a little funny. But I think both of them played really well. I don't think there was really a whole lot of misplays between the 2 of them. I think just Braden played a little better, just knowing what he needed to keep around to go against Tom's team, and that was the Jolteon. So, anything else you want to say about this match before we go into the MVP race?
No, I think they're both playing really well. It's it's just unfortunate Tom's gotten 3 losses so far, but I think if he's improving a lot, and I think if he just keeps it up, he'll be doing much better.
I think he definitely improved this week. That was definitely shown. So
yeah.
So for the MVP race, moving back up to the number 1 spot, it went down last week, but it's down back to number 1, is Mega Charizard Y from the Calgary Flamethrowers with 8 kills, 1 death, and a +7 differential. The number 1 member from last week is now number 2, Mega Venusaur, coached by the New England Patriots Berk, with 6 kills, 0 deaths, and a +6 differential. And then regular Scizor from Tom, who lost this week, still being in the top 3 with 6 kills, 3 deaths, and a +3 differential. I was not expecting Tom to be up there. I was not expecting that Scizor to be up there. That's definitely for sure.
Scissor's been doing a lot of work. And I'm just
Mm-hmm.
gonna say I didn't even bring Mega Venusaur, and it's still in the top 3. So
That
Mega
is true.
Venusaur
That is,
definitely. I'm that's like the only thing I have. I'm just keeping it there. I'm just
it's
gonna
the,
keep
it's the
see if
only
I
mon
can.
in the top 10 who has not died yet either.
I know it's only Mon in like the top 20 that hasn't died yet.
Yeah,
So
it'll die eventually, I'm sure.
don't talk like that. I'll just stop bringing. I'll just stop bringing
It'll eventually,
it.
that then it'll
Keep it death.
definitely drop
Keep
down in
keep it
differential.
deathless. Uh, but so at number 4 we have Kirim. 5 kills, 1 death, uh, 4 differential, coached by Xavier and the Dallas Victory Stars. And 5 is tied with Kirim, Mega Scizor, 5 kills, 1 death, 4 differential, coached by Damon and the Cincinnati Regigigas. Well, don't really, you never really expect to see Kirim up there. Maybe Kirim Black, but
Mm.
nope, just regular Kirim.
I just want to point out that regular Scizor has a higher differential and higher placing in the MVP race than Mega Scizor.
Yeah, uh, it happens. I actually like regular Scizor better than Mega Scizor, but that's just personal preference. But number 6 is Zoomerl, coached by the Zoomerl, 5 kills, 2 deaths, 3 differential, coached by Bob and the Atlanta Shocks. It only got a death this week, and it's still number 6. So that's
That's
pretty
impressive.
impressive.
Yeah.
Uh, 7 is Landorus I, 4 kills, 1 death, 3 differential, coached by Jair and the Florida for Alligators. 8 is tied with 7, which is Tornadus T, with also 4 kills, 1 death, 3 differential, also coached by Jair and the Florida for Alligators. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's
And
definitely impressive.
uh, Zygarde jumping up to number 9, 4 kills, 1 death, and a 3 differential. That's all in one match. Jumps from 0-0 to 4-1. So
Because
that's
this was the first time he ever brought Zygarde, and it's automatically jumped up to the top 10, so it's definitely impressive.
yeah. And 10 is Greninja, 4 kills, 2 deaths, with a +2 differential, coached by Cameron and Manaphy City. And actually, number 11 is also tied. It's Kyron B, 4 kills, 2 deaths, +2 differential, coached by Braden and the Seattle Superiors.
So, I mean, this is definitely, I think the MVP race is starting to formalize, like, okay, we're going to see some of these mods in here for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the top 3 are probably going to be in here for a while. Zoomerl is probably going to be in here for a while. Uh, so, like, some of these mods have been in here since almost week 1, and I don't see them drop. I think Mega Charizard Y and Mega Venusaur might have been in the top 3 since the very beginning. I could be wrong.
Uh,
I know Charizard has. Charizard Y has.
yeah, no, we've been for week 1. Mega Charizard Y was number 1. And then week 2, Mega Venusaur is number 1, and then week 3, Mega Venusaur is number 2, and Charizard Y is number 1. So we just keep switching spots. So maybe next week, Mega Venusaur gets number 1 again. Mega Charizard drops down to number 2. We just keep doing that for the entire season.
Yeah, and then we'll have to figure out who's going to be on top.
Yeah,
So let's.
but I think Mega Charizard Y is probably gonna start pulling ahead just because it's such an offensive threat. So
There really
we'll
is.
see.
So let's go ahead and talk about the next week's matchups.
All right, so next week we have the Atlanta Shocks, who are currently 2-1, versus Miami Heatran, who is currently 1-2. It's going to be an interesting battle. Um, I don't really know. I don't really know who's going to win. The Atlanta Shocks coming off a really big 5-0 loss, and you're coming off your first win. So seeing that 5-0 loss, even though it is a big loss, I think I'm going to give the edge to Bob just because he's probably going to really. I mean, you both really want the win, but I think Bob, coming off that loss, is really going to want to come back on a win streak. So I'm going to give the edge to Bob, but I think it's probably going to be a close battle.
Yeah, understandable. Next week matchup is going to be the Carolina Panthers Oz versus Berk with the New England Patriots. Um, Carolina Panthers still coming off of no wins yet. And then you just lost your first match, but it was a very narrow loss. So I don't think it's really going to affect you that much. I don't see much that Oz is going to be able to do to Mega Venusaur on your team. The only thing I really think is if he brings Mew, but he has to predict what type of Mega Venusaur you're going to bring so he can bring the right Mew for it. And I just don't think he has really much check to the Mega Venusaur or a lot of your team, so I'm going to have to give you. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be a close win or if it's going to be a detrimental win, but I just have a feeling that you're going to win this match.
Thanks. All right, so the next battle next week is the Boo and the San Francisco 49 Tails versus Xavier and the Dallas Victory Stars. I This is going to be the first week in which I'm going to say Xavier has it. He's been just playing so well these past 3 weeks, and Boo still learning the ropes. So I would definitely say Xavier has it this week.
I agree. I agree. Every single week that we say that we don't think that Xavier's gonna win, he ends up winning. So we might be jinxing him here by saying he's gonna win this battle. But
Is Xavier going to lose this week?
I mean, it's pretty much one of these teams. I mean, either Xavier's gonna be 4-0 or Boo is finally gonna win his first matchup. It's gonna be one of the two. Um,
Well, those are the only two outcomes.
yeah. So. But I feel like just Boo is doing better. I just don't think he's at the point where he can beat someone like Xavier who's just on this roll right now, like nothing. It's like he's just chugging through with that Victini and the rest of his starts on his team. I don't think he's going to be able to be stopped right now. So Boo's definitely the underdog in this battle, but I'm going to have to give it to the Goliath in this David and Goliath story. I think I'm going to have to give the battle to Xavier for this one.
Mm-hmm.
So the next week matchup is going to be the Calgary Flamethrowers and Hayden versus Jair and the Florida for Alligators. In my opinion, this will probably be the match to watch for the week. I think both these teams are doing very well. But Jair finally getting his first loss, and then Calgary Flamethrowers getting a huge win. It's definitely gonna be interesting. I'm gonna have to give it to Hayden though. I think he's finally hit his niche where it's like, okay, now I'm just gonna plow through all these wins. I'm gonna do really well. And I don't know what Jair can really do to Hayden's team with things like Heatran and Mega Charizard Y and Venusaur. He has a lot of dangerous threats on his team, and I don't know what Jair can really do to them with his team. I think it's going to be a good battle. I think I'll probably go down to a 1 or 2-0, but I'm going to have to give it to Hayden for this one. What do you think?
Yeah, I think if Hayden can effectively, take use of that, big ice and ground weakness that Jair has, I think Hayden can take that one. I don't know what. It's going to come down to the planning. But I think Hayden just has the better team matchup. He's got the Sun. He's got some really fast Mons. So I think it is going to be close. But in the end, I'm probably going to give the edge to Hayden.
Mm-hmm. All right. So we're going to talk about the next matchup.
So the next matchup is the Cincinnati Regigigas 3-0, coached by Damon and Braden and the Seattle Superiors, who are now 2-1. So this one I think is also going to be a pretty good match to watch. You've got two teams that are doing really well so far, and I always enjoy this looking at the sets Braden comes up with. He just comes up with some really interesting stuff. But Damon's just been doing really well. He's still undefeated. So I don't really know who's going to win, but I'm probably looking at the teams. This one's going to be close. I think I'm going to give the edge to Braden just because he does have effective counters for like the Mega Scizor, the Rotom Wash, the Superior. He's got counters for all of that. So yeah, I feel like Braden is going to take this one.
I'll have to agree with that. I think both the teams are playing very well. Seattle Spears picking up a really good win last week. So did Cincinnati Rodriguez. I think this is going to be a really close battle, just like the one before this one. I just have to give it to Braden for this one. I think he's going to create some really interesting sets that Damon might not expect, and that will allow him to come through and get the victory for this one. So I'm going to have to give it. I agree with you and give it to Damon for this one. So the final matchup for the week is going to be the Manifest City, coached by Cameron, going against the Bailey Munichs and Tom. This is going to be an interesting matchup. Cameron coming off a big win, finally getting his first win in the season. But I'm going to have to give it to Tom for this one. He's 0-3. He's itching for that win. He's getting better. He's figuring out what he needs to do for his team. And I think that he's going to be able to come out and get a victory over Cameron. I think he's going to bring definitely better sets than he has been bringing and play better. Not sack things off as easily, I don't think. So I'm going to have to give it to Tom on this one. I'm going to go with the underdog.
Well, I'm gonna have to disagree with you. We need to have one disagreement. I think Cameron's gonna take this. Cameron showed last week that he's starting to get used to the team he drafted, and that he can definitely take advantage of the opposing team. So, Tom definitely has a very threatening team. Neither really has, I would say, the better matchup, but I do think that Cameron's going to come up with some good stuff to take down Tom's team. So I'm going to give it to Cameron.
Well, like you said, we had to disagree on one matchup this week. So
Yep.
Better to save it for the last one than doing it all earlier. So, but with that, I guess that's pretty much it for this week's recap, and we will see you all in next week's video. Watch out, there may be something a little different for the next week. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
So, bye.
See ya.